It is said that somewhere, beneath the sweep of a desert sky or in the heart of a city long swallowed by dust, there once stood a library unlike any other. Whispers tell us that its walls were built of sandstone that shimmered faintly in the moonlight, and that within its chambers, knowledge itself seemed to breathe. Perhaps it was never meant to endure beyond the centuries. Perhaps the gods themselves wished to veil it from mortal eyes. We begin our journey here, at the threshold of memory, where the air carries the faint scent of old parchment, and the silence feels alive, like a pulse beneath stone. The gates, weathered and veiled in dust, loom before us. Their arches curve as if to cradle the sky itself, and each etched symbol hints at secrets we are not yet ready to read. The city around it lies abandoned, streets choked with sand, and fountains dried to silence. Yet the library beckons, a promise or a question lingering in the twilight. One cannot enter hastily. The doorway demands quiet reverence. It is said that when the wind passes through these halls, it carries the echo of scholars, long gone, their voices folded into the very stones, murmuring formulas, prayers, and musings that have not been heard for centuries. Inside, corridors stretch endlessly, lined with stone shelves that seem to hold the weight of eternity itself. Ancient scrolls rest there, their edges curling like the wings of sleeping birds, each inked with symbols no eye has truly read for generations. Some scrolls bear the markings of celestial alignment, constellations etched faintly into parchment, spirals that trace the rhythm of time, diagrams that might measure the heavens or whisper the secrets of machines too delicate or sacred for mortal hands. Whispers tell us that a few scrolls contain knowledge forbidden even in their own age, rites to call the stars closer, formulas to turn sound into motion, or perhaps maps to passages that no longer exist. As we drift through these moonlit courtyards and shadowed alcoves, the corridors grow quieter, and yet the weight of history presses gently against our consciousness. One can imagine the careful hands of scholars tracing each letter by candlelight, the faint scratch of quills on parchment mingling with the soft sighs of the night. The air is heavy with dust, yes, but also with curiosity, devotion, and the melancholy of ideas that now sleep in the absence of readers. Each room becomes a mirror, reflecting not just the civilization that built it, but the delicate fragility of thought itself. Perhaps this library was a sanctuary for the mind, a cathedral of knowledge, where contemplation was sacred, where questions were cherished and answers carefully guarded. The architecture itself seems to echo the rhythm of thought. Narrow staircases spiral upward into forgotten towers, windows open to the sky, letting in starlight that flickers across scrolls like distant constellations come to rest upon the earth. Courtyards are dotted with fountains, dry yet still etched with runes that speak of water's lost motion, of rituals performed under eclipsed moons. It is said that some chambers were aligned precisely with the seasons, so that sunlight would illuminate hidden inscriptions only on certain days, revealing secrets the architects intended to remain veiled for centuries. Beneath the floor, perhaps, lie passages to vaults now collapsed, rooms where forbidden machines once stood, gears turned by forces no longer understood, instruments that measured time, air, or the pulse of the stars. With each step, a sense of quiet melancholy grows. We feel the absence of curiosity once alive, the patience of scholars whose every gesture was an offering, the tender devotion to learning itself now vanished. Dust gathers on the edges of knowledge, settling into soft blankets over diagrams and manuscripts that might never again be deciphered. And yet the library is not empty. It lives in the hush between breaths, in the flutter of a scroll's edge, in the soft sway of moonlight across stone. One might almost hear it breathe, a slow, meditative rhythm that guides the visitor into stillness, into reflection. Some scrolls hint at journeys beneath the city, corridors lost to memory, stairways that wind toward hidden vaults where secrets sleep. Others map paths not across the land, but across ideas, tracing connections between sciences, philosophies, and celestial alignments. Here, history is not linear, it is a spiral, a pattern that folds back upon itself, carrying fragments of civilizations into the dust of eternity. And yet, despite the air of melancholy, there is a soft, sacred joy in these discoveries. Even as knowledge sleeps, its pulse remains, gentle and patient. A reminder that human thought, once awakened, leaves echoes that even time cannot erase. As we linger, wandering deeper into the library's veins, the corridors begin to blur. Shadows stretch longer, and moonlight fades into silver mist. The walls seem to breathe with the weight of centuries, and the air hums faintly with memories of voices that spoke once and now only echo. It is in this space, between what was and what remains, that the heart of the library reveals itself. It is a sanctuary not just of ink and stone, but of wonder, patience, and the fragile persistence of human curiosity. Here, every scroll, every cracked column, every spiral staircase is a hymn to knowledge itself. Some manuscripts speak of rituals aligned with the stars, ceremonies performed to honor knowledge itself, as if wisdom were a deity to be revered rather than a tool to be wielded. Others record the mundane, the daily life of a civilization devoted to thought. Accounts of markets, notes of travelers, lists of scholars' names now long erased. These fragments, though incomplete, breathe life into the silence. One can feel the pulse of a city that revered understanding above conquest, where discovery was a meditation, and learning a sacred rite. The library's deepest chambers are hidden behind doors that have resisted decay, their mechanisms secret, their keys lost to centuries. Some believe that beyond these doors lie scrolls that contain knowledge never meant to surface. Formulas to turn sound into light, maps to islands that do not exist, or methods to measure the invisible currents of the human mind. We may never know. Perhaps it was never meant to be found. Perhaps the world was not ready, or perhaps the knowledge itself chose silence as its refuge. As our journey concludes, the halls of the library grow still once more. Shadows lengthen and fold into the corners, dust drifts lazily in beams of moonlight, and the faint hum of memory lingers, barely perceptible. The scrolls sleep, the ink rests, and the stones exhale centuries of secrets in quiet reverence. Some voices only echo when we are ready to listen. Some knowledge waits beneath the hush of night, beneath the sweep of stars, beneath the soft, patient gaze of the moon. We leave the library not with answers, but with a gentle wonder, carrying the feeling of suspended time, of curiosity half remembered, and of the sacred intimacy between human thought and silence. Beneath the dust, beneath the shadow, beneath the pulse of moonlight, the library continues to breathe, as if alive, inviting the listener to drift with it, into sleep, into dream space, into the quiet, eternal hum of knowledge that never dies but waits, patiently, invisibly, and beautifully, to be imagined once more. It is said that there exists a city, its name lost to time, that appears only in whispers and half-forgotten maps. Some believe it faded not by fire or conquest, but by the soft, inexorable hand of memory itself. Streets curved like rivers of stone, fountains now dry, and markets once bustling, now hum only with echoes of footsteps that no longer walk. The city waits beneath the silver gaze of the moon, draped in quiet fog, as if the night itself sought to cradle its secrets. We wander slowly through its alleys, moonlight painting the walls in faint golden hues. Shadows of towers stretch across empty plazas, and broken statues lean silently toward one another, holding secrets in stony hands. Each archway frames a fragment of lost life, a staircase winding upward toward a tower where scholars once studied the stars, or a courtyard where music of forgotten instruments still lingers in the air, as if someone had left notes suspended between heartbeats. Some alleys are lined with faded mosaics, each tesserae a memory of a festival, a procession, a ritual performed to honor gods whose names have been erased from all records. Here the air feels thick with time, each breath carrying the faint perfume of incense and dust. It is said that the city was built to align with the heavens. Temples mark the solstices, avenues trace the path of the moon, and courtyards are arranged to catch the first light of dawn. Maps that survive only in fragments hint at labyrinthine corridors, hidden chambers beneath palaces, and sanctuaries reach through secret tunnels that no living soul has walked for centuries. Whispers tell us that some rooms were reserved for rituals too sacred to survive, where priests would chant beneath starlight and call upon energies now forgotten. As we drift deeper into the city's hushed veins, a melancholy awe grows. We sense the pulse of life once present, the devotion of its people, the care they took to order their existence with precision and wonder. The weight of absence presses softly, fountains are dry, doors hang open to nowhere, and yet the city breathes in the silence, as if guarding the memory of its own heartbeat. The more we explore, the more layers emerge. Stone inscriptions record festivals, lost to time. Altars bear the faint traces of offerings, and libraries, long collapsed, still whisper knowledge in the language of shadow. Courtyards open to the sky, where constellations once guided processions of kings and priests, and staircases lead to terraces that now catch only the wind. It is said that if one listens carefully, the city hums with the rhythm of what once was, a quiet melody of life suspended in memory. Some alleys hold fragments of forbidden stories, royal secrets, hidden alliances, and betrayals buried beneath centuries of dust. Maps etched into bronze hint at passages now collapsed, stairways leading to vaults of treasures that may never be recovered. Symbols carved into arches suggest alignment with stars, calculations of time, and reverence for the patterns of life itself. These traces hint at a civilization that valued knowledge, ritual, and harmony with the unseen now vanished, yet leaving a pulse that resonates in imagination. We pause before a central plaza, where a fountain's basin is cracked and dry, yet traces of its former beauty glimmer in reflected moonlight. Here we feel the deepest melancholy, life, curiosity, and devotion once flourished, and now only shadows, stones, and echoes remain. It is said that the city did not vanish, It simply slipped into quiet dream space, awaiting those who are patient enough to perceive its lingering rhythm. As we leave the moonlit streets, the city folds itself back into mist. Each alleyway, each plaza, each temple breathes in silence, inviting contemplation rather than discovery. Some voices echo only when we are ready to listen. Some streets wait to guide dreamers through their labyrinth once more. And so the city sleeps beneath the moonlight, neither alive nor dead, but suspended, timeless, and gently reminding us of the fragile beauty of memory, presence, and the quiet passage of time. Beneath waves that shimmer with borrowed starlight, it is said there lies a gate, hidden from mortal eyes and untouched by human hands. Some whispers claim it was once the entrance to a city swallowed by the sea, a sanctuary built to honor mysteries the surface world was never meant to know. The ocean keeps it safe, its tides guarding secrets like a lullaby sung in a language only the currents understand. We begin at the edge of this submerged realm, where light filters from above in gentle, wavering beams. The water carries a quiet rhythm, a pulse that seems to echo the heartbeat of the world itself. Shadows of stone rise from the ocean floor, suggesting walls, arches, and towers long claimed by coral, yet each still aligned with precision, as if architects guided by starlight intended their work to survive eternity. Statues lean gracefully in the current, their expressions calm, frozen in meditation or silent prayer. Some believe they once watched over ceremonies held beneath the moon before the waves swallowed all but their memory. Descending deeper, the gate comes into view, crafted from stone as pale as the moon, carved with spirals and symbols worn smooth by centuries. It hums softly with the water's motion. It is said that those who passed through it once were offered knowledge beyond comprehension. Maps of the currents, charts of stars mirrored on the sea, or perhaps instructions for machinery now lost to memory. Scrolls preserved in watertight chambers might still wait, their ink resistant to time, yet unintelligible to mortal eyes. The ocean itself seems to hold history within its embrace. Faint inscriptions on walls suggest rites to commune with gods of water, stars, and storms. Some believe that those who dared enter the gate experience visions, glimpses of vanished cities, of machines that turn the tides, or of ceremonies where humans and the divine touched in quiet reverence. Even now, currents swirl over these stones as if carrying fragments of that memory into the wider ocean, allowing only subtle traces to reach the surface. As we drift through these submerged halls, we sense an emotional rhythm that mirrors the water itself, ebb, flow, and gentle suspension. There is awe, not terror, melancholy, not loss. The structures hum with presence, not absence. Each arch, each column, each spiral, carved into stone, speaks of devotion, alignment with celestial movements, and reverence for cycles of life hidden beneath the tides. Some chambers are veiled in shadow. Perhaps these were reserved for rituals too delicate, too sacred, or too dangerous for uninitiated eyes. Some believe that hidden mechanisms, turned only by water and celestial light, once measured currents, tides, or even unseen cosmic patterns. The knowledge has faded from our world, yet it endures in echoes, in the slow sway of seaweed across mosaics, in bubbles that rise through cracks in stone, in faint reflections of starlight upon the sand. The final vision of the gate leaves a soft melancholy. It is immense yet intimate, protective yet inviting, ancient yet still alive in the pulse of water. Perhaps it was never meant to be crossed again. Perhaps its secrets are preserved not for discovery, but for quiet contemplation, for those who imagine and dream beneath moonlight and waves. Some voices only echo when we are ready to listen. Some gates remain guarding the unknown. Beneath the quiet heart of the ocean, waiting for patience, reverence, and dreamers who dare to enter with soft, suspended steps. In a valley where winds sigh softly through silvered leaves, a temple waits, draped beneath the pale light of the moon. Some say it was never meant to be discovered, that its stones were laid with care to remain secret until the stars themselves chose to reveal it. The temple rises from misty ground, its spires brushing against the night sky. And in its shadow, silence feels sacred, as if even the wind whispers, only in reverence. We walk slowly through moss-clad steps, leading to an entrance framed by statues whose expressions have softened over centuries. Candles have long since extinguished, but the memory of their flicker lingers, an echo within the stone. Frescoes, faded yet intimate, trace patterns of celestial movement, the passage of moon, the alignment of stars, and riddles timed to the hidden rhythm of the heavens. It is said that the temple's very walls breathe with memory, holding devotion and wisdom in quiet suspension, like a soft melody heard only in dreams. Inside, halls open in gentle curves, corridors lined with carved pillars that seem to pulse with their own light. Some inscriptions hint at rites performed to align with cosmic cycles. Others mark offerings to gods who now exist only in silence. Each chamber carries an emotional resonance, the soft awe of those who once entered, the care of hands arranging sacred objects, the devotion of hearts that measured life by the slow orbit of sun and moon. Symbols spiral across floors and walls, spirals that mark passage of time, arcs that trace the movement of planets, and glyphs that murmur secrets too delicate for words. Some courtyards reveal fountains, dry and hushed, their basins etched with runes marking ceremonies lost to memory. Sunlight, filtered through trellises and arches, falls in narrow beams that illuminate scrolls, carvings, or altars only at certain moments. Some believe these alignments were intended to measure the unseen, the pulse of stars, the breath of earth, or the quiet rhythm of devotion itself. As we move deeper, the temple feels alive, yet empty. Silence is not absence, but a presence, a companion guiding reflection. The emotional arc moves from curiosity to meditative awe, a sense of communion with those who built this sanctuary, those who measured time and life with gentle, sacred precision. Symbols suggest knowledge of cycles, of alignment, of rituals meant to echo not in cities, but in the heart of those who contemplated them. The temple closes itself softly into shadow as night deepens. Steps lead nowhere. Altars remain untouched, and inscriptions fade into gentle haze, yet the pulse of devotion, memory, and sacred wonder persists. Perhaps it was never meant to be found by those unprepared. Perhaps it exists for the quiet, patient, and imaginative. Some voices only echo when we are ready to listen. And so the temple sleeps beneath the moonlight, timeless, gentle, and resonant, inviting the dreamer to enter slowly, breath by breath, into the sacred rhythm of silence. It is said that in a hidden chamber beneath the earth, scrolls lie in patient slumber, layered with dust and shadow. waiting for eyes that may never return. Whispers tell us that they carry knowledge not meant for ordinary hands, inscriptions that chart the heavens, diagrams of machines now impossible, and rituals that call upon powers forgotten by the world above. Some believe the chamber was created as a sanctuary for thought itself, a place where curiosity could dwell undisturbed, even when kingdoms fell and empires faded. We begin our journey at the threshold of this chamber, where the air is thick with the scent of earth, parchment, and faint traces of incense. Stone walls curve gently around us, etched with spirals and symbols that seem to move as we breathe. Moonlight filters through narrow slits, falling in pale, trembling beams across the floors, revealing scrolls stacked in silent devotion. Each scroll is a winged thought, edges curled like sleeping birds, inked with symbols no one living can fully read. Some bear instructions for rituals, others diagrams of celestial alignment, maps to places that may exist only in memory or imagination. As we wander slowly, the emotional pulse of the chamber becomes palpable. Here, history is a gentle breath, a melody of memory and devotion. Some scrolls hint at machinery that could measure tides, manipulate light, or translate the movement of stars into song. Others are sacred texts, instructions for meditative rites performed beneath eclipsed moons or during the quiet turning of the seasons. Some voices echo faintly across centuries, the careful hands of scribes, the quiet discussion of scholars, the reverent pause before a secret was recorded in ink. Dust drifts like clouds over the surfaces, stirred only by the soft passage of time. Each step seems to awaken a faint resonance in the chamber, a reminder that knowledge, once conceived, leaves traces that linger long after its makers are gone. There is melancholy here, the curiosity of a civilization that cherished thought has vanished, yet its pulse remains, folded into the fibers of parchment, etched into stone and suspended in shadow. We imagine hands lifting scrolls, unrolling them under pale beams of light, tracing letters with fingers that have long turned to dust. Perhaps some were never read, or read only by those initiated into secret rites. Some inscriptions hint at the impossible, voyages to lands hidden beneath oceans, stars mapped in ways no modern sky can match, and rituals meant to commune with powers beyond mortal comprehension. These scrolls, it is said, exist simultaneously as memory and dream, as real as the dust they rest upon, yet as intangible as the wind in a forgotten courtyard. The deeper we move into the chamber, the more layered the history becomes. There are alcoves with scrolls that seem to hum faintly in the dark, vaults where secrets were locked away by scholars who feared their power. Some symbols suggest sacred mathematics, some whisper ethical codes for governing knowledge, and others seem to measure time itself, folding past, present, and future into a single, silent spiral. The air feels alive with quiet energy, a rhythm that mirrors human thought, devotion, and imagination, preserved in stillness for centuries. As we prepare to leave, the chamber exhales in dust and shadow. The scrolls settle, curling slightly as if breathing, and the light shifts to catch inscriptions we may never fully comprehend. Perhaps they were never meant to be fully read. Some knowledge sleeps, waiting for those who approach with patience, reverence, and quiet curiosity. Some voices echo only when we are ready to listen. Beneath the dust, beneath the shadow, the scrolls endure, suspended in time, cradled by the earth, and alive in the imagination of dreamers who seek them under the soft gaze of the moon. It is said that somewhere beyond the dunes, where the desert breathes slowly, beyond the cliffs, where the wind sings its oldest songs, there once stood a kingdom so radiant that even the stars lingered above it, gazing down like quiet guardians. But now there is nothing. No roads leading in, no roads leading out, no name preserved in parchment or prayer. Only a hush that settles over the land, like a veil drawn gently across a forgotten face. Some travellers claim that on the calmest evenings, when the horizon softens into molten gold, a faint outline of its grand gate flickers in the heat. Perhaps a mirage, perhaps a memory refusing to die. Tonight, we step softly into that silence, following the question that has outlived the kingdom itself. How does a realm vanish so completely that not a single map remembers it, yet its presence lingers like dust on the breath of the earth? Imagine a plain of whispering sand, vast, untouched, carried by winds that have travelled farther than any caravan. At the centre of this emptiness rests a single stone, half buried, its carved spiral barely visible beneath grains the colour of fading saffron, a marker of something that once was, a fragment refusing to surrender. Beyond it, the dunes rise and fall like ancient hymns, their curves smoothed by centuries of drifting silence. Even the clouds overhead seem to dim their light, as though offering reverence to whatever lies hidden below. In this hollow quiet, the world begins to slow. Breath deepens, thought softens, for the kingdom we seek does not reveal itself to hurried hearts. It comes to those who linger, those who listen, those who let silence grow wide enough to become its own form of speech. Whispers tell us that long before its erasure, the kingdom thrived with life. Markets filled with fragrant smoke and bright fabrics, stone lions guarding the gates, fountains catching the morning sun in those shimmering arcs that made water look like liquid dawn. But the land remembers differently now, where streets once echoed with laughter and the rhythm of sandals on polished floors. There are only smooth corridors of dust, where palaces once rose in proud tiers, their terraces glowing with lantern-lit gatherings. Only toppled pillars remain, lying like sleeping giants upon the ground. It is said the air here holds something of their voices still, a faint murmur woven into the wind, a rhythm that feels like a heartbeat slowed by the weight of centuries. Some believe the people did not vanish. They simply shifted into another fold of time or into the hidden corners between moonlight and shadow. Others whisper that the kingdom offended the gods of memory, and so it was unthreaded, stitch by stitch, from the tapestry of history. Not destroyed, they say, but forgotten by sacred decree. And yet, the kingdom refuses to disappear completely. Small artifacts rise through the soil, as though the earth itself exhales fragments of memory. Coins softened by age, their symbols still faintly glowing in the dusk. A crescent moon cradling a star, a lion looking eternally east, a pattern of dots believed to mirror constellations, visible only during eclipses. Scholars who have studied these fragments speak of alliances formed beneath veiled skies, treaties sealed not in ink but in whispered incantations, their agreements cooled in moonlit water until they shimmered like frozen breath. Higher still, carved into a cliff face, half swallowed by vines, a single inscription survives. Its language is older than the languages we know, its symbols softened by the centuries, but its presence retains the unmistakable weight of human longing. Some claim it describes a ritual once performed under an eclipsed moon, when time seemed to slow, when shadows stretched until they met, when the sky revealed secrets usually reserved for the deep sea. Others believe the carving records the kingdom's final choice, to withdraw from the noise of the world and step fully into the arms of silence. Perhaps this is why those who cross the dunes describe strange sensations, footsteps behind them, though they walk alone, shadows shifting even under the stillest light, a subtle awareness of being watched, not with threat, but with memory. None speak of fear, they speak of reverence, of gentleness, of a place not lost, but dreaming. And so we drift deeper, guided not by markers, but by suggestion. The slight curve of a dune, the arrangement of half-ruined stones, the feeling that the land itself remembers the shape of its vanished cities. Here toppled palaces lie in patient repose, their once grand halls opening to the sky, letting clouds pass like slow-moving caravans overhead. Fountains remain, though they hold only the reflections of pale heavens, mirroring emptiness, like vessels never meant to be filled again. Yet there is beauty here, soft, quiet beauty that settles into the bones. A collapsed altar lies in the shade of a solitary arch, its cracked stones sheltering small, stubborn plants that push through the dust. Life returns, even when no one watches. In this hush, it is easy to imagine the rituals once held here. Hands cupping water, placing offerings, raising voices, not in command, but in gratitude, tracing sacred symbols, carved with impossible care. One can believe these people knew something we have forgotten, something about the pulse of the earth, the breath of the stars, the soft spaces between moments. Perhaps this knowledge drew them into realms we cannot see. Perhaps it was their last and greatest protection, to hide not by fleeing, but by slipping into the deeper folds of the world, where only the gentlest seekers might find them again. As the sun lowers, the dunes shift into ribbons of amber and rose. Long shadows stretch across the ruins, like quiet hands, smoothing the stones, settling the dust, tucking the memories beneath a blanket of dusk. This is the hour when travelers speak softly and the wind drifts like a slow exhale. From a distance, the remnants of palaces appear almost whole, not ruins but structures waiting patiently for their people to return. Nearby, a fountain reflects the sky's last colours. Its still water holds the image of a world that has forgotten nothing. And here, beneath the fading light, the question returns without urgency. Did the kingdom truly vanish? Or did the world simply stop looking? No answer rises, only the hush of evening settles, carrying with it the scent of ancient earth and the promise of distant rain. Some voices only echo when we are ready to listen. Some places awaken only to those who approach with tenderness. Perhaps the kingdom asked for its own erasure, not from fear, but from longing. Perhaps disappearance was its way of returning to the dream from which all realms are born. As the last light grazes the stones, they glow faintly, as if remembering lanterns once carried through their halls. Music once slipping through their windows, moons marking rituals with silver breath. Then the glow fades, the sky deepens, and the kingdom returns to its shadowed slumber. In that suspended moment, you sense it clearly. The place is not lost, not truly. It rests just beyond the edge of waking memory, alive in the soil, alive in the drifting wind, alive in the dream of the earth itself. And as night settles in, you are invited to drift with it, to wander softly through the gentle melancholy of what once was and what might still be in the uncharted space where sleep and ancient kingdoms meet. High in a secluded mountain hollow, hidden from the ordinary gaze of travelers, rise stones unlike any other in the known world. They stand as silent singers, aligned with constellations whose names have been lost to memory. Some say these stones hold a voice, not audible, but in vibration, resonating devotion, ritual, and longing through the air, calling to gods hidden from human sight. The mountain exhales beneath mist and moonlight, carrying the memory of faith folded into rock. Devotion etched in mineral, shaped by hands long, vanished yet present in echo. Our journey begins at the foot of terraces, where the wind moves like a soft breath over carved pillars. The stones are arranged not randomly, but with exquisite precision, forming an amphitheater of echoes. Each stone is positioned to carry vibrations, to translate memory across space. Ancient ceremonies rose here, guided by stars above. Chants and prayers followed, celestial patterns, summoning energies beyond mortal comprehension. Stepping into the choir feels like entering time itself, centuries folding upon each other as the present suspends in reverence. As we move among the stone singers, a subtle resonance emerges. Each stone hums faintly, not with sound, but with vibration, felt if one pauses long enough. Devotion is embedded in every surface. Symbols hint at sacred mathematics, cycles tracing the movements of stars and planets, perhaps even invisible flows connecting earth and sky. Some scholars suggest the choir was a machine of thought, translating human intention into vibrations that could travel beyond perception. Only those attuned to silence, patience, and devotion could perceive these hidden voices. The song lingers long after ceremonies have ended, carried in the structure of the rocks themselves. Closer inspection reveals intricate inscriptions. Some speak of rites performed beneath eclipsed moons, offerings intended for gods whose names are forgotten. Others hint at lost constellations and instruments that measured intention, attention, and devotion. Walking slowly among these monoliths becomes a meditation. Eyes trace spirals and stars carved into surfaces. Hands imagine cold, rough textures. Minds drift through centuries among inaccessible possibilities. As night deepens, the choir grows intimate. Shadows stretch across terraces. Mist curls through corridors, and a quiet pulse fills the hollows, like a heartbeat of devotion, thought and ritual suspended in space. Awe is soft, reverence gentle. There is melancholy, yes, but tempered by remembrance, the quiet knowledge that something profound endured. Stones remain voiceless yet alive, preserving knowledge not for display, but for communion with those who slow down, listen, and breathe. During still nights, when wind holds its breath and stars shine sharply, the stones may resonate more clearly, responding to invisible harmonies. Some feel a tingling, a memory of ritual carried through generations. every step is measured, every glance deliberate, every exhale in harmony with the mountain. Some stones bear carvings of cycles not only of stars but of human life, tides, and seasons. The choir may have aligned mortal intention with cosmic order. Vibrations recorded prayers beyond human hearing, spirals and glyphs whispering meaning. Devotion folded into geometry, ritual encoded in silence. As dawn approaches, the choir seems to breathe with the light. Mist lingers between stones, shadows soften. Perhaps some voices echo only when the listener is ready. The mountain exhales gently. The stones remain in solemn alignment, guardians of memory and devotion, suspended between what was and what remains. The stone. Choir sleeps beneath starlight, a living testament to devotion, preserving knowledge not in words but in vibrations, an eternal whisper for those willing to stop, breathe, and hear. Deep within the heart of a fortress abandoned to memory, there exists a chamber where time itself seems to pause. The sun barely penetrates heavy walls. Shadows cling stubbornly to stone, barely shifting. The air is thick with centuries of suspended life, carrying the faint echo of rituals long concluded. Lives frozen mid-motion, gestures lingering indefinitely, an intimacy preserved impossible in ordinary experience. Some believe this chamber was a refuge, where the flow of time could be measured not in clocks, but in the rhythm of breath, stone, and devotion. The doorway is simple, yet profound. Carved spirals and symbols denote eternity, tracing cycles invisible to ordinary eyes. Stepping across the threshold, the first sensation is subtle vertigo. Objects appear alive, yet suspended, caught between one moment and the next. Goblets rest on tables, traces of wine clinging to rims. Tools lie where they were last used. Scrolls await hands that never return. The chamber hums softly, with life paused, a pulse neither forward nor backward, simply timeless. As exploration continues, the emotional landscape emerges. There is melancholy for frozen lives, yet also reverence for intimacy preserved. A scholar's quill poised mid-letter, a priest's hands folded in prayer, a musician frozen mid-strum. Shadows extend across floors, illuminated intermittently by shafts of sunlight or flickering torchlight. Each flicker reveals hidden patterns, symbols aligning with celestial cycles, rituals measuring not hours, but the unfolding of life itself. Time is not a ruler here, it is a companion, patient and silent, guarding moments too sacred to vanish. Corners hold inscriptions, possibly warnings, instructions, or reflections on devotion and knowledge. Others hint at delicate machinery, impossible to reconstruct, that may have counted tides, stars, or the pulse of life itself. The chamber is alive yet still, dynamic yet silent. Each step, each breath, reveals layers of intention and care, cycles of ritual, echoes defying ordinary hours. The chamber invites contemplation, time itself as a conscious presence, perceived only through patience and attention. Every artifact is meditation, every shadow, a reminder that human life, though fleeting, can be preserved in beauty, ritual, and imagination. Some moments were too sacred to pass, too delicate to share, too potent to record conventionally. Eternity is not a concept here, it is a lived experience. The deeper one ventures, the more profound the stillness. The human mind, trained to measure, must yield. Breath becomes a universe, a glance, meditation. The chamber teaches patience, quiet lessons in presence, devotion, and reverence. Frozen objects, unchanging light, suspended shadows form a symphony only perceivable by those willing to slow down. Upon leaving, the chamber remains intact, serene in meditation. Time exhales, allowing memories and possibilities to drift, suspended between stone and light, life and imagination. Perhaps it was never meant to be fully entered, only gently experienced. Some voices echo only when listeners are ready. The chamber sleeps, timeless, patient, humming softly with life held in perpetual contemplation. Here, time need not march forward. It can pause, fold, create spaces where devotion, knowledge, and beauty persist. Shadows, artifacts, and whispers carry a soft, unending hum of suspended life, a reminder that moments, carefully preserved, can endure beyond mortal perception. High upon a cliff, where clouds drift like ghosts across moonlit skies, it is said that a tower once stood, built to speak to the heavens. Whispers tell us that its stones were arranged not merely for structure, but for resonance, that the wind itself carried the tower's voice to the stars, and in turn, the stars murmured secrets back. Travelers of old claimed that if one listened long enough, in the hush of midnight, messages could be discerned, not in words, but in vibration, light, and the subtle rhythm of alignment between stone and sky. We begin at the tower's base, where stairs carved into granite spiral upward, each step echoing softly in the empty night. The cliff is worn by wind and centuries, yet the stones of the tower remain, etched with spirals, constellations, and symbols that hint at knowledge now lost. Some stones are polished by hands long vanished, others bear inscriptions so delicate that moonlight alone reveals their meaning. It is said that the tower's alignment shifts with the seasons, allowing sunlight and starlight to touch sacred carvings only at precise moments. Inside, the air hums faintly. Narrow halls lead to chambers designed for observation, meditation, and ritual. Scrolls rest in alcoves, some etched with celestial charts, others with diagrams of instruments that once measured the motion of stars. There is melancholy in this silence, for it is the memory of knowledge suspended, the devotion of those who ascended these heights, tracing the heavens with their minds, now preserved only in stone, shadow, and imagination. Each room becomes a mirror of thought itself, reflecting not what is, but what was intended, dreamed, or hoped. Some chambers were reserved for rites performed under eclipses, full moons, or the gentle alignment of distant planets. Symbols hint at communication across realms, messages whispered into the night, songs sung to the sky, and instruments designed to translate human intention into the movement of the stars. These were not technologies in the modern sense, but embodiments of devotion, patience, and observation, meditative in both intent and design. As we move toward the uppermost balcony, the tower seems to exhale. The cliff drops away beneath us, the night sky stretches infinitely, and the silence carries the faint resonance of centuries. Here awe is quiet, reverence subtle and melancholy soft, tempered by the beauty of thought preserved in stone. The tower continues to whisper, though no voice is heard. It vibrates in rhythm with wind, moonlight, and imagination. Descending, we leave the tower suspended in its own reverie. Perhaps it was never meant to be fully understood. Some knowledge exists only to awaken patience, quiet reflection, and wonder. Some voices echo only when we are ready to listen. And so the tower sleeps under the stars, timeless, patient, and alive in the rhythm of devotion and the subtle pulse of memory. Beneath the calm of a silvered sea, it is said, lies a machine of mysterious design, built to measure the rhythm of tides and the silent passage of the moon. Whispers tell us that it was created by a civilization devoted to harmony between the heavens and the waters, a technology both sacred and meditative. The machine rests in quiet suspension, its gears corroded by salt and time, yet the alignment of its chambers remains intact, a testament to the care of those who first conceived it. We approach the submerged hall, where light filters softly from above in trembling beams. Bronze mechanisms, spirals, and levers lie entwined with coral, seaweed drifting gently across polished surfaces. Some gears bear inscriptions, celestial charts, diagrams of tidal flow, and arcane symbols now unintelligible. It is said that the machine could measure the subtle influence of moonlight on the ocean's motion, translating lunar cycles into patterns of sound, rhythm, and even illumination. As we move among its chambers, the emotional resonance becomes clear. There is awe in the precision of thought, melancholy in its abandonment, and reverence in its silent endurance. The civilization that built it sought not conquest or fame, but understanding. The heartbeat of water, the rhythm of stars, the quiet interaction of forces too subtle for ordinary perception. Some mechanisms seem to hum faintly even now, as if vibrating with a memory of motion, counting tides that have long since forgotten their origin. Some chambers were carefully aligned to catch beams of light at precise lunar phases. Others contained devices that measured subtler effects, the pull of distant stars, the slow drift of currents, or even vibrations of thought transposed into mechanical rhythm. Whispers tell us that the machine could have been used to guide rituals, to predict phenomena, or to meditate with the sea itself. Its purpose was not simply functional, but sacred, a meditation of time, movement, and cosmic order. We linger before a massive dial, bronze, etched with symbols that mark centuries of observation. Each gear, spiral, and lever tells a story of patience, devotion, and contemplation. The ocean flows around the machine, carrying echoes of hands that adjusted it carefully, of scholars tracing its movements, of rituals performed beneath silvered moonlight. There is sadness here, yes, for the machine is abandoned, yet in its silence there is beauty, a soft reminder that human thought can endure in harmony with nature, even when civilizations vanish. The chamber closes in shadow, waves drifting through columns, coral swaying gently, moonlight reflected across polished bronze. Perhaps it was never meant to operate again, only to exist as a testament to devotion, observation, and harmony. Some voices echo only when we are ready to listen. And so the machine sleeps beneath the ocean, counting tides no longer visible, marking the silent rhythm of the moon and inviting dreamers to imagine the harmony of a lost civilization and the gentle pulse of time itself. In a valley hidden by mist and mountain, it is said that a garden once flourished, cultivated not merely for beauty, but as a sanctuary of reflection and quiet devotion. Whispers tell us that its plants were aligned with celestial patterns, that paths traced the rhythm of the seasons, and that statues held the memory of long, vanished rituals. The garden exists now in fragments, overgrown fountains, moss-covered benches, and winding pathways that disappear into shadow. Yet even in abandonment, it breathes with an echo of order, patience, and reverence. We enter slowly, sensing the weight of centuries in the air. Fountains lie dry, yet the channels still trace patterns of water, designed to catch moonlight. Statues lean as if in quiet conversation with the wind. Trees grow along paths that curve like spirals, their leaves whispering under the soft sigh of evening air. It is said that those who walk these paths once meditated beneath aligned trees, reading signs written in shadow, light, and the gentle rustle of leaves. The emotional landscape unfolds gently. Each stone bench, each fallen column, each delicate mosaic fragment evokes melancholy and awe. The garden was a sanctuary of thought, a space where humans measured time not with instruments, but with observation, reflection, and devotion. Some paths lead to small chapels, others to open courtyards, where ceremonies once marked the passage of solstices or lunar phases. Scrolls once rested beneath trellises, etched with patterns that linked flora, celestial movements, and human intention. Symbols carved in stone hint at hidden knowledge. Rituals aligned with stars, calculations of seasons, and reflections on harmony between the living, the earth, and the heavens. Whispers tell us that meditation here was designed to teach patience, to encourage observation, and to cultivate understanding of cycles too vast to measure in ordinary ways. Each step carries the weight of history, yet offers serenity in the gentle rhythm of stone, shadow, and plant. As we move deeper into the garden, a sense of sacred melancholy grows. Paths wind toward courtyards now veiled in mist. Fountains echo faintly with imagined water, and shadows fall softly across mosaics that hint at lost celebrations. Some statues bear inscriptions so delicate that only moonlight reveals them. Others suggest rituals too sacred to survive, hidden from the world in order to preserve the delicate harmony of thought, life, and devotion. We leave slowly, each breath drawn in reverence. Perhaps the garden was never meant to be fully restored or understood, only appreciated in quiet reflection. Some voices echo only when we are ready to listen. And so the garden sleeps beneath mist, moonlight, and shadow, timeless, gentle, and alive in the imagination of those who wander its memory